Boom! All right, Dr. Fabulous here, so we're going to talk about some motivational content here. What are we going to talk about today? Wore this shirt for a reason, for a few reasons. One, big Star Wars fan, big Star Wars out. Two, just looks cool. But most importantly, mentions the word master, okay? And for me, I like to be, or I try to be, and I work to be a master at my craft, what I do as an orthopedic surgeon, primarily hip and knee replacements. Also just to be a quote-unquote master of life, okay? So this is what we're gonna talk about today. Mastery. Okay, so first, let's talk about how it relates to career or type of career that you're pursuing, okay? So, for me, I do orthopedics. Primarily hip and knee replacements. Why do I do it? Because I love it, okay? I've talked before about heart. Heart is very important with what all you do. You gotta connect your mind and heart, you gotta follow your heart. I know it's cliche, but you know, when you're in tune with this guy right here, the magic happens, okay? So, what happened? In medical school, I saw my first hip replacement. And that's when my heart kind of skipped a beat. And I knew I was in love from the get-go. So with that, that's where my passion and diligence, grit went up another level, okay? So what was the pathway to get here? It was med school, it was pre-med, high school, and med school. Okay. So along each way, along each step, it's not about just being a master at what your career path is, what your ultimate career goal is, but it's to master each process, each step along the way. So in high school, of course, want to get a good GPA, want to be the best so I can set myself up for success in getting into college. Okay, so what I did, pretty simple, hit the books. Pretty simple formula. Simple, but often not easy. You gotta grind, you gotta put the time in, okay? And you gotta enjoy each thing that you learned along the way. You know, I always preach that growth is happiness. In terms of knowledge growth, when you obtain more knowledge, that's growth. So, I wish back in that day I would have appreciated that more because I always had the future, the end goal in mind. But to those in high school, really, that are watching, really appreciate what you're learning along the way because, you know, any tidbits of knowledge that you get opens up the world more to you. Okay, so that's what it is. Got into college. I was in between two colleges, between Northwestern, University of Michigan. I was hell-bent on Northwestern the whole time. But then I visited campus and I didn't feel that my heart was in tune with that campus. But then I went to U of M and the game changed, okay? Going back to heart, U of M touched my heart. You guys know that I'm a University of Michigan zealot. Go blue right there. So there was pre-med. And in pre-med, I also talked about this before. My first organic chemistry test, which is a weeding out test for medical school. I almost failed my first exam. And for me, failing an exam or close to failure exam was not something I was used to. I wasn't used to getting a D plus, D minus, or what it was. I'm Asian, so I had to go A plus, otherwise I'm not having dinner that night. Just joking. So, what I did though is that this is when I demonstrated grit. So grit is perseverance, it's diligence, it's doing with energized focus, and not willing to quit on what your goal is. So I doubled down for that examination and knocked it out of the park. So that to me gave me a lot of confidence. One, gave me the confidence to know that I could do medical school. Most importantly, it taught me that, you know, I did fail in my mind, but I didn't let that failure lead to true failure, which is quitting. Didn't quit on my dream, okay? So, once this path got going, my GPA, worked hard for it, and then also MCAT. To all your younger healthcare aspiring providers that are out there, These are the two gateways, just to go off topic a little bit, these are the two gateways that will get you into medical school. So really, that's your laser focus right there. All the rest is ancillary. You want to get extracurriculars, but this is where you need to start. So then, I went to med school. I didn't get as many interviews as I wanted to. I didn't get into med schools or my top choice, but all I needed was a foot in the door. You give me a foot in the door, you know, I know that it's going to be just hard work. The rest is passion. So let's go back to our major topic here, mastery. So mastery, in my mind, is being as excellent as you can be with everything that you're doing. Okay, for me, currently, I'm in a space mentally where I choose to be excellent in everything that I do, everything that I really care about, everything that I'm really kind of working towards. Okay, I accept nothing but excellence. Do I achieve it all the time? No, but that's what I always work for. Okay, so that's what mastery is. And mastery, what I read along the way that mastery is not being competitive with someone else, it's being competitive with yourself. Okay, being competitive with, in terms of fact of, you want to keep obtaining your skills, you want to keep owning your skills, and you're not comparing those skills to someone else. Because if you're the best that you can be, wherever that falls in the pecking order, you know at the end of the day you can look at yourself and be like, you know what, I brought it, I did the best I could. And usually if you're looking for excellence, you can be that outlier, you can be that top 0.1%. So basically just, this is what you have control of, yourself. Your mindset, you don't have control over someone else's mindset or their hard work. Just try to be the best that you can be willing to over-deliver, willing to over-commit, willing to work countless hours to achieve that goal. Okay? So then I got into med school, and there I learned more and more to master my study skills because it was a level up. Okay? It's like an athlete. They go to high school, they're all American, but then they get to Division I college, it's a step up. And they say when life got harder, it means you just leveled up. So when you level up, you either stay stagnant, don't get playing time, or you really just grind and you get that playing time. You work for that playing time and you improve. Okay. So got to med school. Yeah, it was hard. And again, for the younger healthcare providers here, because that's an important audience to me with the FAB movement, to inspire the younger healthcare providers out there. The gateway is your USMLE Step 1, much like the MCAT. So you need to master this. Do the best that you can be. And how do you master? Again, going back to hard work. A lot of studying, hit the books, talk to people. Okay. Now, I haven't mentioned so far along the way, the best gateway to mastery is to seek out other masters. Okay. So you got to seek out other masters. You want to find people in your space, whatever space that is, that have what you have. Okay? I'm not talking materialistic, I'm talking about all the intangibles. Okay? So you want to seek out those masters, whatever you're doing. Okay? If you're an artist, seek out the best artist. If you're a photographer, seek out the best photographer. If you're a content creator, like my man here, Pat, seek out the best ones, and he's got them, you know. So, and you'll not only want to read about them if you can, you want to try to get personal FaceTime. Not always possible. You can read about masters. The great thing, they say 97% of all knowledge is on the internet. There's audiobooks. So masters don't have to be entirely someone that you meet face to face. That's ideal, but it's someone that you can read about. So for me, I like to listen to audiobooks. I listen to audiobooks probably 2 or 3 times a day. I seek out masters. So from an intangible sense, the masters that I like are Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, Grant Cardone, a new one that I love, David Goggins. And what he talks about is that we are only working at 40, most humans are working at 40% of their capability, okay? When you're getting tuned with this, when you're working on self-investment, which is the best investment that you can make, this is where you can bring this 40% to 100%. I think even 110%, meaning you're doing stuff that you never thought that you can do, okay? And a lot of it is just kind of tapping into your subconscious, mastering the inner game, mastering your mind, because our mind can really be the masters of us, but we need to flip that. We need to be the masters of our mind. And when you do that, it's pretty amazing what you can accomplish, okay? Hitting your subconscious, the subconscious works and process at a level that is infinite, okay? So the problem is, how do you get into that? And for me, that's been a lifelong journey, continues to be a lifelong journey. But the models are out there. You know, going back to David Goggins, it's pretty impressive what this guy does. You know, he's a Navy SEAL, he's Army Ranger certified, he does ultra marathons, and he pushes the human limit, okay? I don't entirely believe in limits, because when you say limit, that means there's an end point, but limits, I think, are meant to be passed, okay? So a lot of it goes back just to tapping in into your subconscious, into belief. So, going a little tangential here, but we're going to go back to our major theme here, is hip and knee replacements. So me, when I was in med school, you know, when I was in residency, I realized that I wanted to do hip and knee replacements. So what was the best way to mastership for me? Was to seek out the masters, as I talked about. So we do a fellowship. To become a master in joint replacement to be a master joint replacement specialist, to be a Jedi, to have the force in joint replacements, you have to, in my opinion, you have to go to a fellowship, which is 1 year extra training to really kind of sharpen your craft. And with that, I wanted to seek out the best fellowships. Okay, the best fellowships in my space are HSS, Hospital Special Surgery in New York. There's Mayo in Minnesota. The one that I was gunning for was Rush in Chicago. So that's where I kind of put pretty much all my chips in. Applied there, got initial resistance because they were, there was a lot of stuff, kind of some political stuff going on there, but ultimately I was the last fellow to get in. And like I said before, you just give me a foot in the door and I'm going to kind of slam that door wide open and introduce myself. So at Rush, there is where I finally had face-to-face time with the masters of hip and knee replacements. There's a Dr. Della Valle. Good friend of mine now. Talk to him often, okay? So you seek out the masters, but you also got to maintain communication with those masters. I've talked about before also, I used to be scared to ask questions. I used to be scared to foster relationships because I felt like my ego said I can do it on my own, I can learn on my own, and on top of that, I didn't want to, quote unquote, look stupid in their eyes by asking questions, by seeking their advice. But in the end, I was the one being stupid, not doing that. So now I'm really making up for lost time by continuing to reach out to these people. So Dr. Della Valle now, is the top of the food chain. He is our president of our American Academy of Hip and Knee Surgeons. He was the youngest person to get in the Hip Society, so he is synonymous with what we do. So, and there's another concept I like to talk about. You want to be synonymous with your space, like the iLegends team here. They're synonymous with, social media. So, another one, Dr. Poprowski. He wrote the book on doing hip revisions. So he is the guru, he is the master of it. And there's Dr. Berger, the master of same-day discharge joint replacements. So as you can see, the path to mastership is pretty clear cut, pretty straightforward. Just like Luke Skywalker, who was his master Yoda, so that's how we achieved Jedi Master level. So we'll see in episode 9 how Luke kind of filters into that. So hopefully, I don't think he's entirely dead. He's one with the Force. Okay, so now we talked about my path. So let's talk about on a general sense. Okay. We've already touched upon these themes. Number 1, read, read, read. Warren Buffett used to read 500 pages a day. He did not compromise on that. Tony Robbins says, don't compromise on reading at least 30 minutes a day. It's a concept that I didn't really adopt until about a year or two ago, but thank God, it's really leveled me up It's brought me up 10x level, my man Grant Cardone. It's really opened up the gateway for me, and that goes back to self-investment, okay? Because when I invest in myself, I'm not only good for myself, that makes me good for others to give back, okay? So it is this that has really gotten me into being a master of my mindset, being master of the inner game, so that I can be a master for other people, okay? So that's number one. Maybe not number one, but very important. So as I said before, 97% of all knowledge is on the internet. So really take advantage. You know, that's not something that I had when I was growing up. So it's out there. It's out there for the taking. So just absorb, absorb, absorb. Okay. And now we have audiobooks. So a nice thing, you know, maybe a piece of advice for all you guys is that I don't like wasted time. You know, time is a huge commodity. We'll never get it back. Okay, like the last second, the last 5 minutes, I'll never get that back. But I'm proud over the last 5 minutes that I really kind of went 110%. Okay, so in terms of wasted time, when I'm getting ready in the morning, I listen to audiobooks. When I'm in a car, I'm listening to audiobooks. When I'm working out, I'm listening to audiobooks. When I'm walking, I'm listening to audiobooks. Because, yeah, I can listen to music, and I listen to music every now and then, but for me, I'd rather be gaining knowledge, okay? And that, going back, is mastering the inner game. I'm redundant. Keep being redundant on this aspect, but they say repetition is the mother of skill as well. So this helped me master the inner game. And this has helped me to achieve an energy level I didn't think was possible in myself. So I think oftentimes I work in at 110%, okay? Because I used to always get home, oh, I'm tired, you know, the day kind of wore me out, surgery, and then just plop on the couch for 3 or 4 hours and watch TV. Now I'm able to keep that energy level throughout the day, you know, until 10 p.m., until 11 p.m., you know, because of all this reading that I've done, okay? And knowing that time is a huge commodity. So, since we're talking about time, mastership takes time. There's a 10,000 hour rule. Malcolm Gladwell in Outliers brought this concept to the forefront. Okay. Now, it's been challenged. The 10,000 hour rule, does it really take 10,000 hours? You know, the concept is pretty much, basically, you get the point. It takes a lot of time. This is not something that you can get overnight. Not everybody's 10,000 hours are equal. Not everybody comes to the level of skill as quick as others. Okay? Some people have natural skill. Some people don't have natural skill. But even if you don't have natural skill, you can obtain that skill as long as you keep going at it and don't quit. Okay. So, you know, talk about Malcolm Gladwell, Outliers. And I also talked about audiobooks. You know, I get a lot of questions that I get DM'd on social media. They're like, they want me to share my personal library with them, okay? So what are some books that have been game changers for me? I think, and I read this in residency, but let me start first. So the first book that really kind of resonates with me was something that I read in college. It's called Peaceful Warrior by Dan Millman. That was awesome, okay? I like the concept, Peaceful Warrior. Maybe sounds contradictory, but basically what it is, it's attacking life from a mindset of serenity, a mindset of peace, okay? So that is achievable. That is something that, that I've kept and really kind of started my gateway onto this path of personal growth, okay? So Peaceful Warrior. Another great place to start, and this guy is legendary, is Napoleon Hill. Think and grow, I'm going to put in quotes, rich. Because he's not talking about a monetary sense, he's talking about having a rich life, okay? A rich life doesn't mean having boats, having yachts, having cars. It means having wealth, being of service, having purpose. Okay, so he takes it beyond a career space. He talks about personal investment to achieve a life of fulfillment. So that was another great book that I loved. Another book right now that comes to mind is The Presentation Secrets of Steve Jobs. The reason why I got onto that is because, fortunately I have the opportunity to give a lot of presentations for hip and knee replacements, to lecture, to teach other surgeons, other people in industry. And I knew, I was looking at videos from before, I'm like, I know I can be better. I'm not a master of this right now. So how am I going to achieve mastery? I'm going to seek out a master. And Steve Jobs was the master presenter. Okay. But this is not just presentations from a being on the podium standpoint. This is just being able to present yourself in life. Okay, so the best books I feel kind of speak on a lot of levels in a more general sense, in a much bigger picture sense, rather than just owning on something like career or whatnot. So those are 3 books that I love. Another one was Grant Cardone, 10X. What does 10X mean? 10X means he talks about not working or living up to your quota, but live up to your potential. Okay? I really like that, because a lot of people in business, they're given quotas. And yes, I will use money here as an example, is to maybe sell 10K per quarter. But that salesperson, their potential may be 100K. So why limit yourself to 10K when you know your potential is 100K? Now you may not hit 100K for that quarter, but if you have that mindset, you have that belief, you'll surpass that 10K. Okay? And he gives a lot of advice. He gives you the formula as to how you can achieve levels of production that you never thought was capable. One that I love also is 15-minute, 10-minute interval days. And I've posted on this before. He says basically every 10 minutes, whatever works for you, 15 minutes of your day, really cram as much as you can into that. Just cram as much work productivity as you can into that. But he didn't mention, but what I thought about this is that it really keeps you in the moment. It doesn't keep you looking ahead, okay? Because when you're looking ahead, you're dead. That's what Tony Robbins says, or when you're in your head, you're dead. So basically, you're not thinking about the end of the day. You're not stressing about the end of the day, what you need to get accomplished at the end of the day. You're just focused on that 15 minutes, keeps you in the moment, gets you productive, helps you hit that 10X, helps you hit your potential, not your quota. What's another book that I like? So we talked about Grant Cardone. He's fantastic, one of my favorite guys. There's Gary Vee. I'm sure a lot of us know him. There's Jab, 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 Right Hook. One thing that he said that I really like is pay attention to what other people are paying attention to, okay? Because whatever business that you're in, whatever career path, to keep it sustainable, it goes down to marketing and innovation. I am going to take it here to a business aspect. But, this concept does have larger implications. So pay attention to what other people are paying attention to. So he has got a vision. He's got a visionary sense where he knows what the next thing is going to drop. He predicted Google to be huge. He predicted Instagram to be huge, and he's always 5 steps ahead. But he's also making sure he knows what people are paying attention to. He's a big digital marketer. He's synonymous with digital marketing, so he knows what people are paying attention to. Okay, so that's kind of 5 examples of some books that I love. Okay, if you have any more questions, any more book recommendations, feel free to direct message me. I'll be more than happy to share my library. Okay, because that's what I'm here to do. Hopefully, I want to be your Jedi Master. I think all of you have Jedi Masters in you. You're all Jedis, but you got to seek it. You got to take action on it. And That's what ultimately mastery is all about, is taking action. So here's a general formula with some anecdotes as to how to achieve that level of mastery, because you got to be a master at what you do. Be a master of the inner game, be a master at life, okay? Because being a master at life leads to fulfillment, and we're only here for a certain amount of time, so get it.